Hi everyone, welcome into this week's my weekly CBS Fix. Hope you had a wonderful week. Hope you had a wonderful Yom Kippur. So we are tomorrow night going into the holiday of Sukkos, Zman Simchasenu, the time of our happiness. Let's discuss this a little bit. So 2 questions we'll share with you and hopefully we'll give a nice answer. So the first question is the famous question: why is the holiday of Sukkot celebrated in this month? It should really celebrated in the same month that the holiday of Passover is, which is the month of Nisan. Instead, we celebrate it in this month that we're in, the month of Tishrei. Now, why should we celebrate it in Nisan? Because the Jewish people left Egypt and they ate the matzah, certainly on the road, but also they had the clouds of glory which protected them. And the Sukkah that we sit in is a reminder for us of the clouds of glory. And if that's the case, we should be eating matzah in the Sukkah in the same month of Nisan. Why is it pushed off or postponed till the month of Tishrei? Question number 1. Question number 2 is, speaking of the clouds of glory were so amazing for the Jewish people that as they were traveling through the desert, one would think, well, you're going to need food, you're going to need something to drink, what are you going to do for clothing, what are you going to do about the weather if it rains? The clouds of glory, the Anania Kaveh, they protected us from all the elements. We had enough to eat from the manna that came down from the heaven. We had the well of Miriam that served the Jewish people with enough whatever water that they needed. Even their clothes, Hashem always made sure that their clothes were washed and ironed. Everything was taken care of for us. If that's the case, that means the clouds of glory reminded us how secure and well we were, that we had no concerns at all. If that's the case, then why are we going into a sukkah that is kind of not a secure dwelling at all? It's not strong and made solid wood. Well, it's going to be solid wood, but it's not solid gold. It's a temporary flimsy hut that we're supposed to sit in. So if we want to remember the clouds of glory and how secure we were and how well taken care of, we don't really feel too well taken care of inside a flimsy hut that's by definition only something that's supposed to be temporary. So how do we understand this? So one of the explanations given is that the month of Tishrei, the month that we're in now, is the month that follows the summer months. The month that follows the summer months is the time that everybody's silos used to be filled, because it's now after everything already grew and everybody feels taken care of. They have all their food. They don't really want for anything. Whereas the month of Nisan, right in the beginning of the spring, is right after a heavy winter. And right after a heavy winter, that's when everybody looks skyward, looks to Hashem and says, Hashem, please help that I should have enough produce to feed my family for the upcoming year. So therefore, during the spring, people kind of feel this need to come out to Hashem, hey Hashem, I need you. Whereas during the time of Tishrei, they feel, oh, I got everything I need. And once a person feels he has everything he needs, that's when a person starts to not call on to Hashem anymore. I got it, I'm good. I don't need you, Hashem, anymore, because I have all the food that I need. Now that's when the Jewish people will start to have their downfall, because like the verse said in last week's parasha, Yishman, Yishurim, Yivat, once Joshua and the Jewish people get fat, that's when they start kicking. Fat meaning they have plenty. That's when they start kicking. They start forgetting about Hashem. It's me. I take care of it. I was the one that plowed and planted and harvested, and I did all the hard work. And so therefore, we specifically push off the holiday of Sukkos to a time where we might be full of ourselves, and we do what our sages tell us: go out of your permanent dwelling and go into your temporary dwelling. Because in your temporary dwelling, that'll remind you, we got nothing really to be too secure about. You got nothing too secure about, because after all, who knows? One day you're living in a nice house, the next day you could be living in a hut. What is our security? Our security is Hashem. Whatever Hashem gives us on a daily basis, and that is our security. And so therefore we're answering the question, why do we sit in the Sukkah during the month of Tishrei? Because the month of Tishrei is when we may start to have feelings of, oh, I'm awesome, I'm amazing. But no, leave your permanent house and go into that dwelling, because over there you learn the great lesson of what the Sukkah teaches you: humility. Things are temporary. You're not here for forever. On a side note, to impress this idea upon us. That's why we read from the book of Ecclesiastes on Sukkos, because that book of Ecclesiastes, King Solomon is talking about how everything is vanity of vanities. Everything goes all empty. All the pursuits that people pursue, they're just empty pursuits. And at the end of the day, a person who has fear of heaven, that's a person who lives a full life. And just to, I guess we can make this video a little bit longer. Thank you for indulging and listening. But there's a verse in Ecclesiastes that says, remember your God while you're still young, before the days come that you'll say you have no more desire to live anymore. I was speaking to one of my aunts recently about this verse. Our sages explain, what are the days that a person will say he has no more desire to live anymore? Are those the days that a person gets sick? Are those the days that a person doesn't have any more money? Are those the days that the person realizes he's about to die? No, those are the days when Mashiach will come. When Mashiach will come, people won't have any desire to live anymore. Why not? Because then the great gift of free will be completely frustrated and curtailed. Because when Mashiach comes, everybody will know the great truth. And everybody's going to want to cling to the Jewish people. Everybody's going to want to cling to the Torah. And so therefore, we have to remember Hashem while we're young, meaning before Mashiach comes, while we're in our youth, and we have the vigor to be able to fight against the evil inclination and be able to choose with our free will to serve Hashem. When Mashiach comes, a lot of that reward will be gone. And so therefore, we have to remember that a person sometimes gets caught up with all the empty things. When a person goes to the Sukkah, the person shakes the lulav and the esrog, the person is making their pursuit Hashem, their pursuit of Torah. Let's answer up the second question that we asked before. So we asked two questions. Why is in the month of Tishrei? We asked. The second question we asked was, if the clouds of glory are supposed to remind us of the security that we felt, so why are we going to a place that's not secure? So I think an answer to that question is the actual security that a person has is the knowledge of Hashem. Like the verse says, "L'man yedu darazechem," in order that the generation should know, "L'man yedu darazechem, es asher yishavti es bnei Yisrael b'Mitzrayim," how I gave them dwelling places when they went out of the land of Egypt. That means when we leave our permanent homes and we go into the temporary home of the Sukkah, that is the security. The security is knowing that our only security is really Hashem. And yes, then Hashem was our security because He took care of everything. But we become insecure when we forget that and we start thinking that we are our security. And so therefore we go out to the Sukkah because that knowledge, that security is more important when we go out to our porches or when we go sit on our dwellings. And so therefore, this idea of Sukkos is things are temporary. The idea of Sukkos is to remember that the only thing that's permanent is Hashem, our only security is Hashem, and that ultimately is a person's greatest simcha, a person's greatest joy. Knowing that the only one we trust in is the one that's going to be here for forever and ever, and that's Hashem, and that our lives are attached to Hashem. And that's why this holiday is called Zman Simchaseinu, the time of our happiness. Because when we sit in the Sukkah and we realize that Hashem is our only trust, I keep looking that way, by the way, because that's where my Sukkah is. And when we keep thinking about Hashem, that is our happiness, and because everything surrounds Hashem, that everything, our entire life, everything we do, all the mitzvahs that we do, that is our success, both in this world and in the world to come. Have a wonderful Yom Tov, have a wonderful holiday. May it be a joyous one. Thank you for listening.